By using slash summon, we can actually create negative experience. It's really cool, and while it doesn't affect your leveling bar, it actually removes durability from tools with mending on them, which I had no idea about. In fact, we can straight up evaporate some tools with full durability from the game with a negative enough XP orb. Also, if your XP gets higher than 2.147 billion, or 21,863 levels, when you die, it shows that you had a final negative score. That's pretty cool and all, but how can you get this much XP in the first place? And more importantly, what's the best way to level up in Minecraft? That's an interesting question, and unlike my other videos, it could actually help you. To figure out what the best way to get XP is, we first have to understand how XP works in the first place. First of all, XP does not equal levels. They're two connected but different things. 1 XP isn't 1 level, and 7 XP isn't 7 levels, etc, etc. So how does it work? The XP system is very weird and not so intuitive to understand. Simply put, XP is a value that when you have enough of it, it can increase your level, which is displayed on your leveling bar. There are actually 11 different types of XP orbs, each with a different sized body and different sized core. Each orb has a minimum and maximum value. For example, the smallest orb has a minimum value of negative 32,768 and a max value of 2 XP. The largest orb, on the other hand, has a minimum value of 2,477 XP and a maximum of 32,767 XP. But how do these orbs and XP translate into levels? For the first 16 levels, the difference between each level's experience is an increasing odd function. For instance, level 1 requires 7 XP, level 2 requires 16, and level 3 requires 27 XP. You may not notice a pattern right away, but if you look at the difference between each level, you see that from 0 to 1 you need 7 XP, from 1 to 2 you need 9 XP, and from 2 to 3 you need 11 XP. Each level is one more odd number apart from the last. It can also be modeled by this formula, but that's less important. Makes sense? Great, because it gets a lot worse. Because instead of continuing this trend, Mojang decided to pull a fast one and say, let's just raise the difference from every odd number to every other odd number. Once you get to level 16, the difference no longer goes up by 2, but by 5. So from level 16 to 17, it's 42 XP. From level 17 to 18, it's 47 XP. From level 18 to 19, it's 52 XP, a difference of 5 instead of 2. Again, there is a formula to calculate your level based on experience, but the chaos doesn't even end there, because once you get to level 31, the difference becomes 9. From level 31 to 32, you need 121 XP, from 32 to 33, you need 130 XP, and from level 33 to level 34, you need 139 XP, and this continues all the way till the max possible level. Why? I don't know, ask Mojang. Also, the formula for this is absolutely disgusting. We can visualize the XP required for each level as the red line on this graph. You can see the values required grow higher and higher exponentially, and the green line, the XP difference between each level, also grows, if not more slowly. Now that we have a general idea of how experience works, we can figure out what the best way to get it is. There are actually not too many ways to get XP, so we can narrow it down pretty easily. Specifically, according to the Minecraft wiki, there are only 5 different ways to get XP. Killing mobs, mining blocks, smelting blocks, getting achievements, and other. Thanks for that. Other includes bottles of enchanting, trading, fishing, and breeding. So let's go down the list and identify the best method in each category and then compare them to see ultimately which method is the best. For simplicity's sake, I'm looking at the fastest way to get to level 30 and to level 100, which require 1395 and 30,970 XP respectively. Now, before I begin, this is going to be a bit subjective. Getting experience early in the game will be far different from getting experience later on, when one has a ton more resources at their disposal. Certain methods may not be faster, but instead easier, so do keep that in mind when I list my methods. Let's get into it though. First of all, killing mobs. Each mob in Minecraft drops a certain amount of experience when you kill it. Well, actually, not exactly. You think Mojang would make it that easy for us? Hell no. Certain mobs in Minecraft don't have a set XP value, but instead a range. For example, all the mobs on screen can drop anywhere from 1 to 3 experience. We can average it out and say 2 per drop, assuming each is equally likely though. So according to this, assuming you kill 1 chicken per second, it would still take you 11.6 minutes of killing chickens to get to level 30, which would be nearly 700 chickens, mind you, and 4.3 hours of killing chickens to get to level 100, and no one wants to spend that long killing chickens. Useless mobs like bats, baby animals, wandering traders, villagers, iron golems, and snow golems all drop 0 XP. Endermites drop 3, most of the hostile mobs drop 5 with 1 to 3 extra per each piece of equipment, hostile babies drop 12, blazes, evokers, and guardians drop 10, and piglin brutes and ravagers drop 20. The wither drops 50 XP, and the ender dragon drops 12,000 XP on its first death, and 500 on each death after revival. However, it's unlikely I'll be farming ender dragons anytime soon. But which mob is the best to farm? To get level 30, you need to kill 279 basic mobs, 140 guardians, blazes, or evokers, or 70 hoglins or ravagers, and of course, 1 dragon. This is great to know and all, but what does it mean? Well, early game farms like mob spawners or darkroom pitfalls can help a ton. For instance, a basic zombie spawner can get you around 48 XP per minute or level 30 in just 29 minutes, and level 100 in 10 hours. Ugh. Assuming we can kill 1 guardian per second, we'd be getting around 36,000 XP per hour, or level 30 in 2 minutes and level 100 in 52 minutes. Theoretically, you could get a ton of XP all the way from level 0 to level 68 just by killing the dragon. But this isn't a very repeatable feat. Still though, much better number, so killing guardians is definitely a method to consider. Mining blocks is a whole other simpler or more complicated story depending on how you choose to look at it. Like before, each block provides a different range of experience, but there's far less blocks to consider, with coal ore being the worst, averaging 1 XP per block mined, and the highest actually being mob spawners, giving anywhere from 15 to 43 XP per spawner mined. However, it's unlikely that you can consistently find and farm dungeon spawners, so let's move on to the next best ore. Nether quartz. Psych, it's actually emerald and diamond ore. Nether quartz is often talked about as this XP giving ore, but it's not even second best. Emeralds and diamonds can give anywhere from 3 to 7 XP. However, as they are very rare, nether quartz does indeed to make more sense to mine. And it gives anywhere from 2 to 5, or 3.5 XP on average. Its veins in nether range from anywhere between 1 to 14 ores per vein, so 3.5 to 49 XP per vein. If you were to mine 1 nether quartz per second, which is already a huge stretch, you'd be getting 12,600 XP per hour, or level 30 in just under 7 minutes, and level 100 in 2.5 hours, after mining over 8,848 quartz ore, 1 each second. So not too reasonable, but not too far-fetched either if you want to go for level 30. However, keep in mind that is 1 nether quartz ore per second, which is very unlikely. Up next is smelting, which is far more common when getting experience. You can smelt a ton of stuff, but there are really only 8 categories of XP. Mojang also decided to have mercy and not provide a range this time, just a fixed value. All these things are terrible to smelt and give 0.1 XP. Wet sponges and wood give 0.15, lapis and nether quartz ore give 0.2, dream gives 0.3, all of these snacks including clay blocks give 0.35, redstone ore and iron ore give 0.7, and these 4 and cacti give 1, and ancient debris gives 2 XP when smelted. But come on, this is Mojang. You think it'd be that simple? Hell no. Because when you smelt raw mutton, for instance, you aren't just getting 0.35 experience. No, no, no. In fact, to find out how much XP you actually get, you have to multiply 0.35 by the number of cooked mutton taken out of the furnace. Then award the player the whole number portion, and the remaining fractional part is the chance of getting 1 bonus XP. For example, if I was smelting 21 raw mutton, to figure out how much XP I'd get, I'd have to multiply 21 by 0.35, get 7.35, give me the whole number part, or 7 XP, or 1 level, and then a 35% chance of getting 1 bonus experience. Makes sense? I hope so. Obviously, while in theory smelting ancient debris would be the fastest way to get XP, no one is going to have that much of it. So instead, we turn to the next best thing, cacti, which are almost as good and far more common and farmable. Those of you who have been around for a bit can probably remember zero-tick farms, super overpowered modules that would trick Minecraft into growing things like cactus and bamboo very quickly. Sadly, these were patched in newer versions of Minecraft, and this hard nerfed the cactus XP farm. That being said, while they aren't the quickest anymore, these farms are definitely still a choice, because you don't actually have to do anything for them to work. The difference between cactus XP farms and all the previous methods is that you don't actually have to do anything. You can just let your cacti grow in the background while you do other stuff around the base per se. The furnaces will smelt in the background as long as they have fuel, and once you click an item out of the furnace, it will give you all the XP for all the items that were smelted. Even if those items were then taken away by Hopper into a chest, you'll still get the XP. This can get you a ton of levels almost instantly, and it helps to think about it more like an XP bank as opposed to an XP farm. The obvious downside is that if it wasn't on, you aren't getting anything when you need it, but if you leave it on for a while you're doing other stuff, it will slowly churn away and eventually get you more and more XP depending on how long you wait. And when you do need it, it's practically instant, although you do have to wait to reset it again afterwards. Still, a definitely notable method to consider. I'm going to be skipping over the advancements category because you can only earn each advancement once, but if you're curious, here are the amounts of XP you get per each one completed. It's not too notable, but something new you can keep in mind. Finally, the other category. Bottles of Enchanting are certainly great for getting experience at around 60,000 XP per hour, but again, these are pretty rare and aren't too obtainable in large quantities. In fact, the only way to somewhat reliably get them is through villager trading, which is the next thing. You can get around 4.5 XP per trade made with villagers, but again, this isn't very efficient compared to all the other methods, and who actually likes trading with these guys? Breeding animals isn't too repeatable either, and while in theory it wouldn't be that hard to set up an elaborate breeding chamber with tons of couples, not only would that be weird as hell, it's certainly not the best method to get experience. Same with catching fish. Not too predictable, and more like a small reward as opposed to anything meaningful. It just eats up your time. So, all things considered, what is the best way to get XP? In my opinion, the Furnace Bank or Darkroom farms are the two best designs because they work early game and give a decent amount of experience. But they are so far away from the fastest. In terms of speed, the best is something completely different. Let's quickly revisit the mob section. You may notice in my calculations for Guardians, I'd assume to be killing around 1 Guardian per second. This is definitely impressive and gives you a solid 36,000 XP per hour. However, this is far from what is possible. Well-built late-game farms can organize the Guardians in such a way that piles them on top of each other, allowing you to kill many at once with just one swipe of your sword or one harming potion. As such, you'd actually be killing so many more than just 1 per second. With an Enderman farm, for instance, you could get around 105,000 XP per hour. I'll link a design to a farm like that, as well as all the following farms in the description. A well-built Piglin farm can get you 250,000 XP per hour. And even better than that, a well-built Guardian farm can get you 380,000 XP per hour using harming potions. These designs are incredibly fast, but there is one more ace up my sleeve. Because really, only noobs farm guardians or piglins. The best XP farm is an ender dragon farm. 5.76 million XP per hour. That's enough to go from level 0 to level 1150 in just 1 hour, or to go to level 30 in less than a second, and to level 100 in 20 seconds. Obviously, these figures aren't really realistic, as you can't kill the dragon in that short a time, but technically that's how fast you'd be getting XP. 1,600 experience points every second. This insane farm was designed by Ray's Works for 1.10, with an updated version for 1.12 and onwards. It essentially tricks the game to give you a 12,000 XP dragon every revival instead of a normal 500 XP. It respawns the dragon for you, then pushes it to a killing chamber, blows it up with a TNT duplicator, and eventually carries the XP all the way back to you. It's completely nuts. Links to this farm and everything I've talked about will be in the description, but with all that said, this is the best way to get XP in Minecraft, an ender dragon farm. Thank you so much for watching, please do consider subscribing, and as always, peace out, have a good one.